Yeah, good evening from the studios of Radio FM 88 Australia in Brisbane. It's a welcome. We've had the humidity today, and we're now getting a bit of a breeze to come and suggest we've got a tropical storm coming through. All part and parcel of being live on radio. Our guest tonight from Australia, but it's actually in the early morning of the UK, and just before midday, in the Mediterranean, where our guest is coming from. Without further ado, I'm going to say hi, Priti Pauline, and you can welcome our guest.
Hey, hello, and good morning and good evening. I love saying that. It's fantastic on this simulcast from the Northern Hemisphere and the Southern Hemisphere. It's beautiful. So we have Munay. She's in Mallorca, and she's the founder of Original Intelligence, which is quite interesting, just the name. And welcome, Munay.
Thank you, Pauline. I'm very excited and very honored to be here and to have this conversation with you.
Brilliant, brilliant. So, Munay, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you came to be in Mallorca, because your accent is certainly, well, there's a little bit of Spanish in there, but I hint that there's something more European about you.
Yes, I've been traveling with my husband for 3 years. I've been traveling, exploring the world and looking for a place to call home. He's American. So we were all looking for a neutral place. And through friends of friends, we heard about the potential of Mallorca. It's a very international community, it's a very conscious community, in a way, I can say with gratitude, is also a very privileged lifestyle. And so while we were exploring the Mediterranean, we stopped by, and it's one of those places, as we like to talk about energy and consciousness, is one of those places that I remember, the first time I drove in front of the cathedral that has that warm light that really makes you feel like, this could be the place. And then, exploring the island, finding the right place for us. Life works in mysterious ways. We found the place, we bought the place, and we are rooting here in this beautiful little corner of paradise.
Wow. Oh, look at that sky. It's just exquisite, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very beautiful.
All different shades of blues. Brilliant.
Definitely.
Okay. And so you've been there, about 3 years now?
8 years, actually. Yeah, we came here when our daughter was 3 months. So we moved from Italy. We tried a little bit in Italy, where I grew up, where I come from. But as a mixed couple, it was a little bit difficult to integrate. And so as travelers, it's also hard to sit in one place if it's not the right one. So we kept moving.
Okay. So having said hello from Mallorca and recognize that you've got a little bit of extra European Italian in you, that's fantastic. So tell us, not just me, all about Original Intelligence. How did that come about?
So Original Intelligence came with the urgency and an excitement. I like to say I found it because there is no time. And I really like the healthy pressure that it brings to say there is no time. I really feel the biggest investment that we can make as human beings is the one of ourselves, in ourselves. And so I was looking for a way to translate the work I do, but also what makes me passionate and what I feel is urgent in the world in a way that could match this modern time. We're in the time of AI, we're in the time where technology is it is woven in and is trying to really take many aspects of our life. And so I thought, why not call it Original Intelligence? Because why not create for myself a framework in which I can communicate what I think really matters? And for me, original contains 2 keywords. One is origin and one is originality. And I think there are 2 elements that we as human beings can be forgetful about. We can forget how we are part of the ongoing, evolving, always regenerating origin of life. It should make us proud, but also humble, just by looking at how we are part of a system that really tries to keep evolving and growing, but also the originality of each of us. And I'm not talking about the uniqueness in the form of brilliancy, or I'm looking at the beauty of each individual as a unique creature, as a unique human being with a unique story, with a unique background that needs a lot of respect. So I really want to, what I care about is to make people realize how precious and how extraordinary and how important is their individual contribution. So for me, that's what intelligence, and it also put in question, this is why I like to have conversation like today, it put in question for me what we think intelligence really means.
Yeah, good question.
Yeah.
So to you, what does intelligence really mean? You've asked the question, I put it back to you. It's brilliant. It's a great question.
I think I start with a little bit of background where my thinking comes from, that intelligence, we're used to think as intelligence as something in a way absorbed from the outside, something we learn, we can have something, the degree we have, or what we study, what we're exposed to, and certainly is part of the development and it's important. But I think the intelligence for me is a well-rooted wisdom that comes from within. And I think it comes from within when it's rooted in trust. And I think we can talk a lot about trust, what it means trust in these modern times, because I feel there is a lot that is outsourced yet, and there is a lot of looking outside, but still not enough, or as much as I would like to see, of looking in the inside and find that intelligence that is so primal is the blueprint of our origin, that beyond our beyond our ability to pay attention to it, or beyond our consciousness, it still pushes us to move forward and evolve. So it's beyond our control. But if we engage with it, that we can make it expand in an amazing way. And that's what keeps me really moving and pushing this project that I call Original Intelligence.
Wow. I love that notion of primal intelligence. That speaks in a different way to original intelligence, because you're right. The original intelligence, I imagine, is a combination of that, what you call primal intelligence, and if you like, the academia, the other ways in which we can use our mind to learn things and to behave in certain ways, and to be able to mimic machines or build machines that mimic nature, some things along those lines. Would you?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the thing that, I can close my eyes and get in tears, because it's so simple and yet so sophisticated. And that's what makes life charming, the ability to experience, the ability to have the senses to interact with life and to really learn what it means, awareness. Because I feel in the spiritual world, there are a lot of words that I consider a little bit abuse. Is like, we talk about consciousness, we talk about spirituality, but to me, sometimes, quite often actually, comes with a form of a disassociation. It's like the body is left behind. We go into this realm, which but we forget the vessel, we forget the tuner. And so what I like to say is that, to me, awareness is embodied self-responsibility. So that's what it is. And to embody self-responsibility, it means I really have to be connected and understand, because the beauty of these modern times, and I'm so grateful to be alive in those times, is that now we have language and knowledge, or at least gateways, to really cross different layers of ourselves and to really deconstruct and reconstruct what spirituality means. Because for me, it's just life, and is the body, is to understand that we are tuners, we are musical instrument that speaks the language of frequencies. And when you learn to re-tap into that primal language, then you understand a different way of relating that belongs to the absolute, for me, master teacher, which is nature. You know, nature knows how to relate silently. Nature knows where, you know, they don't have issues with identity. They don't have issue with personality. And so for me, it's the most extraordinary teacher. And it speaks the language of frequency. It's beyond words. It's beyond conversation. Is beyond everything. But also in the spiritual world is being confused with feelings. You know,
Okay.
there is a difference between, people often don't think about it. There is even a difference between feeling and emotions, but also there is a difference between feeling, emotion, and frequency. So it's a very, this is what passions me. Give me passion, that this sophisticated aspect of it. I think that's the intelligence, that there is an adaptability, there is a creativity, there is a force that goes beyond what we are ready for. And that we pay attention or not, there will always be this force that will push us to try to go beyond survival and more into like driving and really caring and really reconnecting. But there is a lot of work to do. And this is what I like to say, there is no time. And I say without shame, but with, I like to put pressure on people in a healthy way. You know, it's like,
Yes.
you know, if I could use a bad Italian word, I will say it in a different way, but I will not. But you know, it's about time. It's about time.
Very good, very good. It was almost, when I'm listening to you, it's almost as if words get in the way of the silence and the beauty of the intelligence. And I don't know if I'm surmising that in what you've said, but that's what I've interpreted your description.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the difficulty I have sometimes as is to which is always having a good conversation is always a good practice, is that time serves us to really understand the layers of ourselves, and I have a lot of respect to that. So for me, this is my bread. This is how I look at life. This is what I see every day. This is the way I challenge myself to relate. And so sometimes it's difficult to make sure that the message comes across in a linear way, because I'm so not linear. I'm so many things, you know, and sometimes
Okay.
I assume things are easy to understand, but perhaps sometimes this is where you can guide me also, Pauline, is to help see what are the elements that maybe can serve the community that is listening to understand more deeply. Yeah.
Okay, so you spoke about a framework. So how did the framework come about? What is the frame? So I'm kind of getting the image that there is a framework in which one, if they're very sophisticated, very complicated, very big ego, big identity, they have to kind of meander their identity until they reach their
Yes,
originality, their origins.
exactly. So I start by putting it in these words. So I'm a very practical person, and I recognize inside myself, and we all have it, the creator and the strategist. So I'm very creative.
Ah,
I see things in my own unique way. I relate to the field in my own unique way, but I'm also the strategist. So I need a frame. I need frame to contain my experience and to be able to serve people in a way that they can touch it at different levels. So one of the experience I have and I had was like to get to know myself at the cellular level. And this is not just abstraction. I have discovered, I have had the luck, I had the purpose to discover practices that allowed me to go inside myself. But when I go inside, not just go in the dark dimension of feelings, but go into a relatable inside, which is the anatomy of how we are from and I call myself, I am And I am the particle, I am the organ, and I am the organism. And so to learn to dive in and connect to these three different dimensions of ourselves. And to do so, I created a methodology that I call Cellular Response 4. And you will love this, because Cellular Response 4 comes from my understanding of self-responsibility. So when I look at self-responsibility in my journey of looking at my, the everyday things that I have to deal with to get better, I realized that self-responsibility is made of three beautiful English words. One is self, one is response, and one is ability. And so I'm like,
nice.
that's the secret is there. And so then I translate it. So the self-responsibility became the self, became the cell, the response stays the response, and the ability, I split it in four phases. So that's why Cellular Response 4. And those 4 phases.
Okay.
So you stop me when it's unclear.
No, you keep going. This is good.
So the 4 phases that I identify by observing myself at a cellular level are release, reinform, rejuvenate, and remembrance. So by observing these 3 phases, I observe how my body behaves in all the dimension of myself. So it needs to go through release, because we are also made to believe that we don't have a way to quickly release what is stored in our cells. But actually we do, and that's what I teach in my retreats. And I figure out that when the body goes through the release, because we speak the language of frequency and we have a brain that loves automatism, we need to absorb new information at a high quality frequency in order to overwrite old patterns and everything that is being stored inside ourselves. So that's why I created Reinform as a step. And then I realized, okay, when I release something that is really stored inside of me at the cellular level, and I can talk a little bit more about it later, then there is this empty space that suddenly my system is like, oh, wait a minute, everything, all the patterns, all the trauma, all the old belief system were what I know to be truth, what I could rely on. And so by releasing that, I created an empty space of possibility, but also a place of possible mistrust. That's why I believe in psychology, you always have to reinform a space that is being released. So with reinform, that's the second phase. That's what we do. I use different techniques, simple and more advanced, to help the person reinform the system. Then what happened? Third phase, because you have released what no longer serves you and you are informed with high frequency information, your system starts to rejuvenate. And rejuvenation for me is obviously not the aesthetic one, but even though it affects also the aesthetic one, but it's the ability to see life as with the eyes of a child again. It's the ability to see new opportunities, the ability to start to believe systemically that there are opportunities out there for you, that there are ways that you didn't think they were possible for you. And they can be from a smaller train of thoughts, from a small, sentence that you can suddenly say to yourself one day, to the biggest project, the bigger vision, the change of a job, anything. But then come the most interesting one, which is remembrance. Because remembrance it's what we talk about in the spiritual world, like always. It's remembrance is practically, so again, the creator and the strategies comes in as archetypes. Practically, it's like, okay, what have I learned? What have I learned from this experience of having to let go of no longer serve me, having reinformed at the best of my ability, having opened myself to a new possibility? So what did I learn? So remembering the journey in a relatable way, in a way that it can be with us. But also remembrance is going back to what we were talking at the beginning, is like tracing back the essence of the blueprint of origin. So understanding not so much who we are, which I think it's something also I I want to imprint the world with, it doesn't matter who we are, because the who keeps changing. What matters is the what. We have to understand the what, because when we understand what we are, it's like having a car, having a machine. If you understand how the machine works to a certain extent that is available not just to scientists but to the everyday person, then the who is about, okay, which landscape am I exploring? I'm a mother, I'm a partner, I'm a friend, I'm an artist, I'm a writer. The who, it becomes accessible, and the quality of the who becomes accessible if we understand the what. So this is why this methodology brought me to create a container for people to understand all the different layers that I weave. I call myself a weaver because I go from the psychological to the biological to the metaphysical in a comprehensible way. So then the people are like, I own this machine. I understand the language before language, the language of sounds and frequency. And it changes people, because you know why? Because it makes them independent. And there's nothing that I care more about. When a person comes to for inspiration, he needs to live independent as much as possible. I don't, gurus should be, or teacher, or should be a mirror for the self to be able to walk alone. So this is why I try to create different methodology to relate to our cellular system in a way that is not abstract. And then by creating experiences like the retreat we do, people have the experience, because this experience creates a systemic alignment. So it's not the mental intelligence, it's not the emotional intelligence, it's not just the physical intelligence, because we are all stronger in one or the other by nature, right? There is a systemic alignment. And when there is a systemic alignment, the system has a really hard time self-sabotage, because it's so primal. It's so it's like a well-performed orchestra, and the results in people are really touching. It's amazing to watch.
Wow. Okay.
There is a lot in there. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It was captivating. I was engaged completely with what you were saying. And I was also thinking about remembrance when you talked about in the cellular level, that the cells themselves, they remember. And I was looking at the protons and the neutrons on an anatomic level. So we've got, in the center is the proton and the neutron, and the electrons are whizzing around outside. But if you take the leap into being a proton, you're attached to neutrality, and then you are immovable. You are the center of that atom, and all the electrons are whizzing around doing whatever they're going to do, because they're jumping from one to another, and they're covalent or non-covalent, or they're fixed and stable, just keep whizzing around. But there they are, chasing the central thing that is untouchable.
Yes, and the thing is, this is why it's so relatable. I mean, we're made like this, so of course it's relatable, but we are made to believe that it's too difficult to understand, or it's too, like that science is something for smart people. It is, but we have now different layers of accessibility, because the cell for me is the most fascinating, relatable element, because it has a backup system. So everything that it has imprinted you, in this current life, but also genetically and at a frequency level, everything that you carry from your lineage, it has a memory stored in the backup system of every cell. Why? Because they need information to relate to their environment and survive, right? Before there is the full manifestation. So what is encouraging, and I think it's interesting for a conversation like this, what is encouraging is that when a cell is very full, imagine a cell is very full, it's the fullest of its capacity. What does it do? It multiplies. It dies or multiplies, right? So we're interested in the parts that carries the information. So when we are going through release, when we create a space and we let go of those imprints that they are in the backup of the cells,
Yeah.
then
The
they
RNA.
multiply. So when you insert a new information, the new information that they carry, because they multiply. Why is it encouraging? Because it means that if we have spent lifetimes or 40 years, carrying something old that doesn't serve us anymore, in the moment in which we let it go or we approach release, then when it multiplies, we evolve at a different speed. We carry that new information, and we have a higher chance of reinforming, of repatterning, of of changing the behavior that is inside, because the information is carried faster. It gets multiplied. So for me, I mean, it's in simple words, it's working with the potential of a vessel that is the body, that is majestic.
Absolutely.
And so that is why I don't go look for spirituality so far away, because if I understand the what, I can work with the who I am, and I can allow it to change. And if I can understand the what, then I can tap into dimensions that, in what consciousness here, in the web of consciousness, in more sophisticated conversation that we can have that. But you cannot if you don't know what you are, because then you don't know how to use yourself. And it's not a one day, it's not a workshop experience. It's a lifetime commitment, because what you do with the strategist inside of you and inside of us, what you do, you commit to the art of observation. And when you learn to observe, then you learn that life is a beautiful mirror, and everything you attune to, it's the teacher. There is no need for idealizing a teacher. If you can learn from a teacher or from different insight and experience to really observe what is around me. And it's very humbling, because it's in the everyday life. It's while you're washing dishes, while you're showering, while you're taking a walk with your dog out. It's like, how can I observe what's the lesson of today? And it has a lot to do with the ability of tuning in with life. But you don't tune in if you don't trust, because trust is primal. And everything, for me, I say there is no spiritual work without nutrition, for example. Because if my cells are in survival mode, imagine a cell is there and it keeps getting emotional information and biochemical information that they are not really serving her. She will contract by nature, because it's like, okay, this is what I got. I have to deal with what I have. And I don't know, out of the pattern that I've been living, if good substances are coming in. If good substances are not coming in, it's hard to let go of the stress, the tension, because the fundamental of your system is in stress. And this is why, circling back to what I said at the beginning, this is why I talk about spirituality as disassociation. Because we think sensitivity, we think that when we're spiritual, we're sensitive. But what I figured out on my skin, because I'm my own guinea pig, I'm always my own first experiment, is that it goes both two ways. Either is sensitivity or is toxicity. So you may mistake people that are very sensitive for people that have a high level of toxicity. So they can stay in the group room. They can, they're really, they feel everything. They can't stand in a room with, you know what I'm trying to describe, that they're
with EMF or with
very, like sensitive to everything, very emotional, or very, their heart seems always to pour out the pain of the world. And we acknowledge that. And because we're tuner, and because we speak the language of frequency and so resonance, I can feel as the pain of the world if there is a lot of pain inside of me, or if I have experienced a lot of pain inside of me. So it's always it's very humbling journey, and it's very earthy journey. It's about learning to take spirituality as wearing this suit that is our body. This is spirituality. It's not looking for the next mantra. You can sing the most ancient mantra of the or whatever. If your instrument, which is yourself as a tuner, is intoxicated, it's low quality material because you have eaten not good, you have not exercised, you have not take care of yourself, then the instrument will be always with the string that is not doing very good, so
Not tuned in and
you're
out
not
of
tuned
tune
in.
violin.
So we can sing mantra in circle for ages, but it's the quality of that singing, of that attunement that makes the difference. So it's paradoxical, because it's like, and this is why I call my work original intelligence and not like some other things, because it is about our origin and originality, and it is about what we believe intelligence is. It's always it's almost never the tool, is the user. Even in a relationship with the AI. Yes, it's terrifying. Yes, it's changing. And what can I do? I always ask myself, I can be the victim and perpetrator for forever, but what can I do so I can empower my origin and originality? And it's not being naive and denied AI. It's about investing in the most brilliant things that we have, which is our body. It's just so. I'm Italian, so I have a lot of fire and a lot of passion, but this goes beyond what I can hold sometimes, because it's just so obvious. It's so obvious, it's not a philosophical lecture, or it's not like it is about how committed are we individually, because that's the only way to reach the collective. It's to think that we can reach from the collective, we can go to individual. It's old leadership for me. It's like leadership is self-leadership first. When I can lead myself and I become my own experiment and I see what works and what doesn't work, then I can go out in the world and offer it. And this is why I create. When I founded OI, I found it as a team right away. Because for me, as a human, very human being, I need mirrors to keep me in check.
Okay.
And I need vulnerability, and I need partnership, and I need co-creation, because this is also another huge imprint we are working on in this modern time. Is like, what does leadership means in the spiritual world, but in the world in general? And if we are not willing to be vulnerable, and if we are not willing to be called out, or if we are not willing to walk slower because we walk in a group, but walk the talk, we have a circle. We meet monthly and we do the walk the talk circle. So we have different skills, and we lead the group in order to be on check with things. And my team includes a nutritionist, a leadership coach, an alchemist, an artist with writing, with expression and writing and painting. Includes like finances as well, and all the aspect of intelligence, or at least the one that they were mirroring myself well in order to grow this project.
Okay. So I was going to come back to self-responsibility, but now Jeff has brought up the pictures of the art. Let's move over there. These are some of your works of art, are they?
Yes. And very intense, as you can see.
Yes, this one looks like jellyfish and fish. And tell me about this picture, how it came about, what was going on, the colors you've chosen. Everything about it is quite stark. It's attention grabbing, is it not?
It is. It's not for everybody's home, for sure. is
I
I
think
mean,
it's great. I think it's, you'd never miss that when you walked into a room, would
no,
you?
exactly. It's like it better have some healing properties, otherwise it's quite intense. I mean, what I can
Okay.
say about my art and this painting is like, um, my first education, my first university was in art, because I was always looking for a way to discover the layers and to find a way to express everything that was going on inside of me. So I find art is a very a particular intelligence to be able to download a lot of information in a container. So that was my way to try to express myself beyond what I could verbalize in words. And I've encountered in my journey a wonderful teacher that unfortunately passed away, which is called Mira Hashimoto. In the world,
Ah,
she was in the world of Osho. She was one of the Osho teachers, and then she completely unlocked the way I've allowed myself to do art. So I've allowed myself now to do art in layers, in depth, in leaving the piece for days and then coming back and not really be worried about the outcome, even if of course I'll have my aesthetic sense, but really enjoy the process. That's the biggest gift she gave me, to just be in the process. And then, if it comes out in a way that is worth a look at, but it will be always important for me. So that painting is one representation. And this one as well is I painted in India. I painted a forest nearby the ashram where I was. And it's one aspect of myself, like I'm very colorful. I like intricacy. I like complexity. I like
this is much
harmony.
cooler. This is
Mhm.
much cooler than the other one. But,
Yes.
again, busy and detailed. I mean, and I like that you've got on both of them, you seem to have like snowflakes over
Yes, it's
on,
playing with water. This is a very
ah,
interesting paper. It's made of banana leaves and cotton, so it's very absorbable. And when it allows you to do
ah,
is to create many, many layers, so you can keep going
mhm.
without losing, without covering, without losing the depth. So I had a lot of fun. I gifted this to my brother. But yeah, this
Okay,
is what art is for me: is the process of
okay.
making
And
something or to dare to leave it unfinished.
yeah, so in both of them, you started with a blank canvas and away you went with watercolors, was it?
So that's a mix of acrylic actually and ink.
Ah, oh, okay.
So normally I do
Both,
the base. I haven't painted in quite some time, to be honest, but normally I do the base with acrylic, and then I start playing with ink. I leave some, where you leave the white parts, then the light effect comes through. Yeah, just looking at the nature and just be amazed by the impossibility of replicating it actually. But that's my personal translation of what I see.
well, they do look positively unique.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really, and there's a joy to them as well. Like, okay, it's words beyond words, as you said, or the silence, but there's a joyful, yeah, orchestra or
Yeah.
um, conversation coming out of the pictures. I particularly like the bright one. I'm a pink girl actually,
Hmm.
or magenta. Okay, so wow. In the response, self-responsibility,
Hmm.
you self being the self as the this is my interpretation of what you've
Hmm.
been saying, is the self is all. It's us being spiritual, it's everything about who we are. It's the self, and the response is how we respond to, is it external factors, or how we respond, how we drive through things, what motivates us, what keeps us going. And ability, we can develop our abilities more and more. so we can respond differently if we choose to.
Yes,
Is that about a
beautifully,
good summation?
beautifully said, Paulina. Yes, I think the power of that beautiful sentence is that we can choose how to respond to different situations, and it's based on the quality of the self. It's based on how attuned we are, you know, how engaged we are. I mean, because everything it's a relationship. Everything it's relationship. You know, it's the relationship with ourselves, is the relationship with what we see on the outside. So it's an arrow both ways. So when you said, you know, the ability to respond to external but also internal, it's this beautiful infinite movement that, you know, what comes in comes out, and the journey is about how to learn to relate to the inside and the outside. So there's so many things to explore, you know, what we believe boundaries are, or so many aspects that can help us improve the self to be able to respond then differently.
Yeah. It's a nice way of, if you like, taking apart the words of self-responsibility. It seems so, well, inane, really, like there's self-responsibility, and then you start to really get into the, if you like, almost, you said the three parts, the Holy Trinity within self-responsibility.
I think it's
Quite interesting.
empowering to look at it in this way, because also what we are reconstructing is the conditioning around self-responsibility, which tends to squeeze us down. It's somebody beating us up, or we did something wrong. But then if you decompose the word, then you see that there is a lot of power in the ability to choose how do respond, and to look at also when we fail and reproduce that situation and see how will I respond now, you know. So you can use it in the present moment, but also the same awareness you can use, you know, after situations that have been challenging or difficulty. So
constantly modifying our capabilities and constantly modifying our capacity to choose, our capacity to respond.
yes, exactly. And to do that, because again, the strategy and creator inside of me is quite restless often. To embrace fully in a 360 way self-responsibility in these terms, I created for myself 3 archetypes: the seeker, the leader, and the visionary. So also this we go deeper in the retreat, because in the deep experience I have, where I can really tap into the core of my own storm, you know, the core of my own essence, the core of my own being, then I observed that I could look at myself from different angles. So I imagine like a constellation, being in the center, I have myself split in 3 parts, and there is the seeker that is always hungry. The seeker is always looking for, is on a quest, is trying to figure out, and is uncomfortable, but is also hopeful. There is this aspect of myself. And then there is the leader inside of me, which is the part of it that wants to get things done. The part of me that says, oh, what can I do about it? How can I take the self-leadership towards the difficulty, the topic, the situation that I'm facing? So that all is very useful, especially in combination. If you have a humble seeker and a committed leader, then in combination, they are a really good team. But then I realized that also these 2 aspects of me, they were too much on ground. It was still like a visual that was limited. And so I split myself in another figure, which is the visionary. And the visionary is also something that I like to reconstruct, because the visionary is not necessarily the aspect of ourselves that has a big vision, a big project, a big, you know, dream. The visionary is the ego for me. It's that aspect of ourselves that can fly above 360. Like imagine I'm the prey in the middle, and I can fly above 360, and I can observe my topic and myself from that view, because we always need to change perspective when we are, especially in difficulty. You know, we need to be able to zoom out and observe what's really the situation here. What am I missing to the extent that is possible? And also, it's a different dimension of resources when you elevate yourself and you zoom out. So, and they make a very good team, because then when I have to take self-responsibility specifically for something, I mean, I try as much as I can to have it embedded in every moment of my life, but still failing sometimes. But when I really pay attention to a situation, then I always go to them. It's like, what is my seeker telling me about myself? What is he hungry for? What is he, you know, what is he recycling? It's very organic also. What is still in there that is not just psychological, you know, all the aspect of me. What is in myself? Did I not nourish myself well today? Did I not hydrate myself? Did I not have the conversation that was important to have? So it's very like everyday life.
It's
And
like
then,
an inner curiosity.
yeah,
Or an inner scientist that's just trying to unravel the project of today.
Exactly. Is
the experiment, yeah.
It can be your inner scientist, your inner philosopher, your inner detective. You know,
what is it that happened? Yeah.
And then it's a team player, you know, which is this also the humbling part. So because also in spirituality and self-development is also very common and possible to get lost in the seeker, yeah, and not integrate and not really take the time, which is not as often as we imagine it in our mind, to really integrate something that we understand. So teaming up with the leader, teaming up then with the leader inside of us, give us that fire, give us that commitment. And the leaders needs other people to be inspired of, you know, like what does she or he do better? How? Let me ask, you know, just find a way to relate. And again, back to the visionary, which is the one that holds it all and is like, okay, I am all of these things. And then you see how, as a practice, the identity dissolves, because you're not just one thing, you are so many things, you know, and growth is not linear. It's spiralic, it's cyclical. So we need to have the patience to accompany all these aspects of ourselves in a dance that hopefully it will get more and more harmonious with time, you know, and commitment.
Wow. I love the way that you put those three together. That, again, I like the usage of the Holy Trinity, because that's what it is, you know, the seeker, that insatiable appetite to understand, to find out, to go out into the world, to explore and ask ourselves questions. You know, if you like, a free thinker that is freewheeling, brainstorming, doing all of those things together.
Yes.
And then the leader that says, okay, that was very interesting. Now let's not get lost in all of that. Let's take what you've done, a little bit of time, bit of patience, and it's like a mother that's nurturing that curiosity. That's how I'm interpreting things.
Yeah, exactly. Each of us has their own version of this Trinity. You know, it's just this is what associated with me, but it's very possible that you call it different ways. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's nice that we can have this conversation that, if you like, it is just different words that help explain, or for, you know, one person interprets it one way. I mean, immediately when you talked about the visionary and taking up, I thought of the story of the eagle looking for its prey down in the field, you know, so and having this sharp vision that can see a tiny little field mice scampering through, and then straight down and takes the field mice and eats it and integrates the field mice into its being. So the field mice gives up its life force in order to give the eagle greater sensitivity, greater vision in the detail, because that's what field mice do. They scurry around and they've got small little sight in front of them, but extraordinary vision. So then you see the visionary, the eagle visionary, that and
yes, and I agree, and I think you
share it.
you describe it beautifully, and I think I'll add to that what's important, because it's what I help people focus on, and is that when you observe the ego needs to learn to land and to take off. Yeah, so
Mm.
it's again, it's like I want to get better. You need to be able to walk. You need to be able to fly. You need to be able to land, and you need to be able to take off. So a lot of the skills of the ego that allows her to have the beautiful vision that you describe is the fact that she master also how to land and how to take off. So, it's the journey of all the aspect of an experience, and to not
Yeah.
diminish or forget that the journey it requires patience and commitment, along with the excitement and the creativity.
Wow. And when's your next workshop? When's your next retreat? Who
Our
wouldn't
next
want to be
retreat
there?
in April, is in April here in Mallorca. It's 5 days. So as you see on the website, we describe the experience, the highlights of the experience, and then there are 4 phases. As we are developing the community around it, we are growing and be able to have all the phases available. Now we offer release and reinform. It's 5 days, just 8 participants, because we start with nutrition. So it's really like going in, going no place to hide, going in, and it takes time. So to be able to tailor also the support for the participants.
Well, nutrition is a little bit of something that I like to talk about a lot. I'm a bit of a foodie, and I certainly like I like what I've been doing for the last 20 years or more, which is a natural life system that is, if you like, it starts with how do we feed ourselves? And what you've been talking about is an awful lot of different layers of how we feed ourselves, where the
Yes.
curiosity comes from, where we remember things, we look from a different perspective, and we can broaden our horizons. So some of them are all non-physical activities, and the physically, what do we feed ourselves with? So without wanting to have you do the retreat in 20 minutes, but how do you approach the nutrition, the physical side of it?
So I approach it. I mean, I have a passion about it, and I also I team up with this friend of mine, a nutritionist, because she's the expert. That's where I like to share leadership. And what we do is, well, let me say it this way: the macro level is that there is no one diet, there is not one approach, and as people that are on the spiritual journey know. We know that is about, again, attuning to ourselves, to be able to recognize in more and more detail what we need and what we don't need. And this is harder work than just saying I'm vegetarian. It's not just that. It's about how do I daily make the effort to tune in to myself, so then I don't just stuff in calorie or what I think is good, but I really recognize what my body needs. And that's also until it becomes automatic, and then it's less effort. So on the macro level, what we try to do is to support the nutritional work by having people to attune that sensitivity. So more and more sensitivity. And then what we do is we do detoxes. So we work on we do a liver detox, for example, on release, because I've experimented in different way that as we work on the psychological, the cellular storage that in our system, the things that we want to let go, if the body is not in support of that, it's like we're doing release and reinform at the same time, because people come with a different background. And so we try to create space for the different layer of the cell and the self to be able to evaporate, to come out, to show themselves. Because again, if the cells are in tension, then it's harder to work on the psychological level, because it seems easy, but it stays less. That's my experience. It stays less systemically. So that's my approach, is about how to educate people towards, and with the help of Melania Gil de Sagrado, which is a nutritionist and detox expert, how to help people in a not overwhelming way, in a doable way, in a result-based way, to fall in love with themselves again, because we have to eat, and it can be done with pleasure, but it can be done also with wisdom. And you know, and many people don't know that a lot of vegetables are carbs, for example, and we think we're eating fibers, but the majority is carbs. So they think because they're vegetarians, they're eating good, but the body needs, as Melania will say, the trilogy of fat, fiber, proteins. So there are things that are doable for people, and we try to accompany them in achieving their results, you know, and attune themselves as much as they can, and make it a daily practice, make it a daily commitment. So that's my relationship with food, and we're always experimenting, but Melania is the source of knowledge for this part of the journey, and I learn a lot from her every day.
Good. And the notion then of toxicity versus sensitivity, could you just elaborate a little bit more on that I picked up in the conversation we've had previously?
Yes, I think what I realized in moment where I felt very sensitive, and I thought, you know, I'm too sensitive because, you know, the ego comes in because I understand this or I see that. I had really to dismantle that belief by really looking at myself at the cellular level and see that sensitivity was actually a toxicity accumulated in my body out of the lack of self-care in different layers of dimension. It could have been the nutritional part, the relational part. There were different aspects that made my system accumulate toxins from other food or other how I was feeling, and store it in my system as a security blanket. And so then when you are so protected, and everything bothers you or disturbs you, and it can be often, I work with different people that, you know, thought, oh, you know, I'm too sensitive and I can't stay with people. I feel this, I feel the field, I feel that. And yes, for sure, there is a predisposition of feeling things in a certain way, but 99% of the time, there's also a disassociation from the body, translated into like I'm a very sensitive person as a quality, not as something to go look deeply. So that's why I say, you know, when we are really sensitive to something in different degrees, it's always good to do a check-in and say, okay, am I really sensitive because I'm sensing something, and that's my abilities, my structure, or I'm really sensitive because I miss something or I accumulate something so much that another part of me had to overstretch. You know, it's like kids that, you know, an example would be like a child that is traumatized, you know, often children that have been deeply traumatized, they have a higher sensitivity to their ecosystem, and often is because they have a toxicity, which is not labeling somebody bad, is by they haven't maybe learned yet or had the environment yet to have the tools to let go and reappropriate and reappropriate the light, you know, inside themselves. So I think it's something interesting that we all in different measures experience in our life, and it takes us back to self-responsibility. So, no escape.
So there is this dance between what I'm hearing is there's a dance between toxicity and sensitivity, whether or not you're sensing something because you have a toxicity, and therefore you're overly sensitive to something.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly.
It's very interesting. Okay. And tell me, how do you go about the business of cleaning a liver then?
How do we do it? We do it through, so there are so many different techniques, and what's appropriate for the retreat that we have is to do it through a specific built like a protocol 2 weeks before. So we give participant 2 weeks before preparation, where the food that is being chosen, it's in support of the liver and the kidney and the organ that they're about to have the detox. And then during the retreat, we do a juicing, mostly juicing, with specific, again, combination of food there that they allow that to happen, complemented by supplements and all diversification of supplements that are needed to support the system. And a lot of hydration, a lot of hydration, and often a lot of headaches come up and a lot of different things depending on the people ground where they come with. We let go of coffee and sugar and spices, also because in the retreat I work, one of the tools is psilocybin. I work with psilocybin, psilocybin from commonly known for magic mushroom. So it's one of the tools. So all these is in support of also an organ that works a lot with the use of psilocybin. So it's all kind of tailored to support the organism to have a complete experience.
Okay. So you don't just turn up. There's a little bit of preparation, at least 2 weeks beforehand.
Yes, and then
people are already engaging, and if you like, pulling together the various energies that are going to come together when you actually all meet on the retreat.
Yes.
So I'm assuming there's about 10 of you there. 8 participants and 2, maybe 3, 4.
We are 5 actually. We are 5 facilitators. 5. It's really like a super tune in room. Yeah, because we need different expertise. It's almost like a 101.
So 13 people.
Mm-hmm.
8. Wow, what a magic number.
Yeah, tomorrow's Friday the 13th.
Oh, yeah.
It is. Yes. And we have another Friday the 13th, 4 weeks straight away after it. So 2 Friday the 13th, one in February, one in March.
Oh, wow.
And interestingly, you talked an awful lot about letting go of things, the releasing of it. And of course, at this time of the year, we're approaching the beginning of the Chinese New Year. We're moving from the year of the snake, which is all about letting go of the outer coating of ourselves. And as the snake sheds its old coat, coming into the new, and then we're leaping off into the fire horse. There's something, we're just getting to the end of that at the moment, not only astrologically, but in the Chinese 5 elements as well.
Yes, I feel it very much. I don't know about you guys. I feel very much more attuned with the Chinese calendar. Like my December is now. Like I feel the pressure of the last changes of skin for a while, at least, because we are ongoing releasing.
Yeah. So it's perfectly timed that you would come and talk to us about what you do with the original intelligence to bring us back to the original intelligence. And the snake is the symbol of intelligence.
It is. It's true. I have a big painting and actually it's not a painting, it's a weaving, I don't know how you will say that in English. Anyway, it's a cloth woven by the Shipibo tribe of the Peruvian Amazon. So I have it in my studio where I work, and it's a good reminder of that, of the power of the snake. So
and also even in the Bible, the snake is the symbol of the divine feminine that weaves her way and is very, very smart in order to get the children to eat from the fruit of the fruit of knowledge of good and evil.
Yeah,
and of course true. they were obeying God because God said, don't touch that, don't do it. Along comes the snake. Why doesn't God want you to eat the fruit? Little
Temptation.
perhaps you might like to be like God, just a little bit. And there comes the seeker, the curiosity. Never thought of it that way.
Exactly. We better learn to dance with this amazing
Yes.
life and all the paradox as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Right.
And Jeff,
Okay.
you want to say? Ask her something?
Karen.
Okay. So I wanted to...
What do you charge for one of your workshops?
What do I charge?
It's
we charge 1,800 for 5 days, full everything, full accommodation, and in a beautiful, humble location that it's very precious to us. And come in one way, come out another.
That's euros, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Not so bad. So,
200 Australian. Okay, cool. Is there any question that Priti hasn't asked you that you need to bring to our attention before you go?
Questions. Let me think. I mean, no, I think
She dug down, gone down, and got all the info.
Yeah, whenever. I mean, I can just say just in support of everything that I'm trying to manifest, that I have a book coming out soon, so I will let you know. It's not on the website yet, but I wrote a couple of books and they're online, and different tools that if people feel following me, they will appear and they will be available for them to have support in this journey through my own translation of what life is about. But I'm very grateful for the conversation, very grateful for the opportunity.
Yeah. Well, I must say I'm loving listening to your idea of self, for instance, that we are the divine within ourselves. We have everything within us that we need. There's no non-necessary. And to get back, I love the interpretation of original. Our uniqueness, our something beyond words, something that is language before language, I think is how you put it. And there's so much to be said.
There's so much to be said.
About language before language, but it's not to be said.
It's so amazing, and and the more we attune to it, the more obvious it becomes, and there is no way back, because it's just what it is. It's just so primal to be able to see things this way. I feel extremely grateful. It's extremely liberating. It is, and it's extremely challenging, because then again, it's like the commitment, the walking the talk, the strategies needs to come in big time to make us last in the journey, and not just being talking about it.
So that if you like, that commitment to walking the talk, say what you do what you say, mind and body unified. Is this what we're talking about?
Yes, and we're talking about a specific way to look at life, and a specific way to really relate to the others, not from a place of knowledge, but from a place of not knowing. So the other can be a source also of inspiration for us to, to dive deep together, also in the collective, to really understand what we're here for, why. Otherwise it's all very, very mental, but it doesn't move as fast as when it's attunement.
Yeah, I love that. From looking not from a place of knowledge, but from a place of not knowing. It's the most expansive place to ask questions from, to seek.
Yes, I mean, and again, it's humbling. We need to be humbled down, because we are very egotistical people. We can think we have all figured it out, And maybe we have
Yeah.
a tiny piece of the puzzle, but let's the wow still be in the field. Let's the unknown, and let's just be, let ourselves be surprised and keep learning, because that's how we can help each other. If we think we have figured it out, it's going to be another recycling mechanism of who knows more. And instead, we're all in the same boat. So big fan. I'm a big fan of co-creation.
Yeah, even that sentence that you said, who knows more? It's like, I know more than this and you know more than that. And there's like a no kind of children in the playground poking at each other, wanting to be the more superior, because I know more than you do.
No, it is in every world. It is in the spiritual world very much as well. So that's why intimacy and trust and vulnerability and co-creation, and for me, are a formidable tool.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, that's one of the biggest takeaways for me, is seek from a place of not knowing. I mean, it sounds so simple. It sounds so obvious, but
I just wrote an article on Substack. I just take 1 more minute of your time. It's gonna come out next week. I just started the platform. The first one was There Is No Time, and this one is like, I know what I know and I know nothing. It is so true for all of us in many ways.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I would look forward to reading that article.
Thank you. It's been very exciting and very heartwarming. Thank you for welcoming me with everything.
Thank you.
All right. Love your work. Thank you very much.
Bye.